Thank you for tuning in and checking out Unlucky, a memoir. My name is Kat. Everyone has a story. This one just happens to be mine. Something I wanted to touch on this week is acting on emotion. And I talked about this in the last episode, where the day that I really wanted to take my life this last time, if I would have acted on emotion, all options are done. Nothing could ever get better. I made the decision for everything and left no room for improvement. So the important thing that I've learned is not to act on emotion, good or bad. I've come to find that our heart will lie to us. It's amazing the things that are happening in my life, the opportunities and offers I'm receiving, everything. But I also need to realize I have to stop and think about each and every one of those decisions. Just because it sounds good, great, or better doesn't always mean it is. Sometimes you find yourself jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. This happened multiple times in my life. It's important for me to stop and think about things. And I always use this as a referral. If you have a POS car, and all you need, you really need, you want a new car, something better than what you currently have. All of a sudden one comes up for sale, it looks amazing, everything you think you want, the price is it's unbelievable. And you act on the emotion of like, I found a great deal. Next thing you know, you're just sitting in a whole new set of problems because you didn't stop and think and research the situation at all, you just jumped right in. So for me, I can take this back to, I talked about this in a different episode about my mother leaving when I was really young. And that gave me abandonment issues, a sense of not being worthy of love. So a lot of my life was led by emotion. And this was detrimental to relationships that I've had in the past. Because the emotion telling me I'm not worthy of love would push me to push the person I was in a relationship with to prove their love again and again. And I did this throughout my life and pushed away a lot of very, very amazing women who all they wanted to do was love me and care about me. But since I felt I couldn't love myself and felt unworthy of love, I would push them away because of the abandonment issue and the fear of being left again and again. I would blow that relationship up on my own terms. Because when I push you hard enough and you keep coming back, sooner or later, I push it one step too far and then it breaks and then I act surprised and then I can say, see, you didn't really love me anyway. And that's cost me again and again in this world. But the blessing in this past year is I've done some internal work on myself, and I hope I've resolved some of these internal traumas, PTSD, whatever, that I'm healing through them. And I know from these past experiences where I've gone wrong. Hopefully I can course correct and straighten that out. But when I was 17, 18 years old, somewhere in there, I had started working for a tattoo studio. I had left home, was working for them, and I was in international tattoo magazines. There was another magazine about body modification where for a year up till it happened, my face was the ads for the magazine. And, So it took off very quickly. It was what you might say a meteoric rise. Like, it changed my life. And I'm not going to say good or bad, because over that time, I increased my use, I increased drinking. I made $1,000 in a weekend, but I had nothing to show for it. And that was every weekend on the road at conventions. I would make really good money, and but I was young and had no sense of purpose. So as soon as it came in, it would go right back out. After a year or so of doing that, I acted on emotion. I just decided to walk away from it all because I felt some sort of way. Didn't plan out my exit at all, and ended up jobless and miserable, all out of acting on emotion. Because I didn't understand to stop and think about things. If I felt something, that's what I did. Acting on emotion kept me using for a really, really long time. Because when things got rough, things got hard, things got painful, instead of facing life on life's terms and dealing with the issue, I'd run away from the issue. And running away from the issue meant putting a needle in my arm again and again, because I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to focus on the issue at hand, not realizing that avoiding it was never going to help it. It just let it grow bigger and stronger and follow me until I finally decided to deal with it. And at that point, it felt unsurmountable. So I'd stay clean for a little bit, trying to deal with things, but never truly dealing with anything. And then another emotion would flare up. A relationship, friendship, job, whatever it was. And I knew where to turn back to. Because no matter how painful addiction ever got for me, I knew what to expect there. At least I didn't feel the pain of life. I just felt the pain of withdrawal. It was an escape that was my own jail cell. I tried to run away from life and not experience or feel it. But in doing so, I incarcerated myself into a little box. And ultimately, I couldn't see it at the time, but it just caused more problems and more pain. And it just felt like the easiest way to escape. So I continued down that road over and over and over again. And I'm hard-headed. It took me till a year and a half or so ago to finally decide that maybe it's time to change, maybe something needs to happen. And even then, 16 months ago, I was ready to act on an emotion that would have stopped the feeling, stopped my life, and it would have been over. All from acting on an emotion. So throughout this past year, in tons of circumstances, I faced small battles over and over again. And in dealing with those small battles, it gave me courage to start dealing with the bigger ones. And that's one of the reasons I do these videos. It's to lighten my burden, because the more I talk about these things, the less weight they carry. The more I share them, the more the load is shared. This is my way of walking through the fire. Because for the longest time, I was too scared to walk through the fire, and I just sat in it and got burnt. The quickest way out is through. And I can't reiterate this enough, and I probably should have said this in an earlier video. This is my path. This is what's worked for me. This isn't what has to work for you. But hopefully you can take something from the message and understand and turn it into something that might work for your life. Part of sharing these stories is to share the mess. Because if I can introduce you to what was, the mess that was, then my message means a whole lot more. These videos are a form of therapy for me at this point. They're very cathartic. I really appreciate all of you who follow along and watch the videos every week. Like, share, subscribe, all those. I'm truly amazed at the amount of people that are still following and are on this journey with me, because ultimately I started this for myself, just to put it out there. And the fact that I get positive comments from people and all these people that subscribed and watch my videos means the world to me. Thank you. So, with that, thanks again for coming along for the ride. Join me again next week.